right, happy Sunday. So I want to share a story that happened yesterday evening when I was dropping Ella off at Mercado. I went to Whole Foods and I grabbed myself some coconut water. And this kind of goes in line with the theme of what I've been sharing on social media, but been talking about for decades now. Regarding like the wise move to create a financial path for your future and learn market skill sets and all that, and how college is truly, I believe, without question, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes and like scams. I mean, it's not a Ponzi scheme, but it's a scam that's been completely propagated on the American public and culture, especially over the last 40 years. Knowledge is everywhere. You can be an autodidactic and learn anything, and you can bring skills to the market. Now, of course, there's people who say, yeah, but I want, there's certain degrees that you need schooling for, right? There's certain things, like a surgeon. For example, we're just hanging out with the surgeon at a birthday party, talking to him. 22 years of school total, but he said the vast majority of all the first half was worthless, and there's zero reason for him to be there. Everything was the second part, the hands-on stuff and whatnot. Which, of course, you need those things. However, according to Elon Musk, in the very near future, there's going to be robotic surgeons that are better than human surgeons. We'll see. But anyways, the point in the story is this poor lady. She's in her late 60s, maybe 70. Very healthy looking, and she was next to me, and she's swiping as we're self-checkout. Her cards kept declining. She was just buying a sushi roll, and you could see she was getting really flustered, so I just reached over and tapped my credit card on her checkout thing, and I said, I got you today. And then we're walking out together, and she starts, tearing up. And I'm like, don't worry about it, just pay it forward to somebody else. And that's not why she was tearing up. I mean, she was thankful, but she was tearing up because she said, my daughter passed away when my grandkids were young. She was a drug addict. We tried everything to get her help. If you don't want help, it's not happening. So she had guardianship and raised her grandkids. Her husband passed away years ago. It gets me sad for this lady. So anyways, she says, I have over $200,000 of student loan debts for their college. I didn't know that they were in my name. We've heard that thousands of times. Guys, I've been talking to people in the consumer financial industry for 14 years, and I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees that I've talked to, tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it's common. A lot of parents are just clueless. They literally just follow the path that the school tells them, and they fog a mirror and they can get loans, and it doesn't matter if that degree truly has any market value. It's totally a Ponzi scheme, which we will hit $3 trillion in student loan debt, I have no doubt, unless something changes in the next 5 to 10 years. But the point is, she's like, they both graduated a few years ago. They were back-to-back graduates. They were like a year apart in grade. She said they're both living at home. One works at Starbucks and one's serving part-time because it's out of season, and not as busy here in Naples out of season. And she goes, get this. She goes, I didn't know this, but when they went to school, they were inundated with student credit cards. So now they've all got multiple credit cards that are maxed out. She's carrying their student loan debt. She's got credit card debts that are maxed out. Think about how warped the system is, where you get 18-year-old kids who have no financial understanding or at all. I mean, the average person doesn't have any kind of true financial education, and you're going to hand them credit cards. You're going to give trillions of dollars of student loan debt to people that have no capacity to pay it back. They both got auto loans too. They got cars, and of course they got a car that they could afford the payment, which with crazy interest, and they can't even afford the payment hardly. It is the last 40 years of this indoctrination of how college is the path that everybody should take, and it is the way to create success. It starts in kindergarten, and I remember this vividly, where Ethan, Cole, first, second grade, and these teachers are talking about college. I just would sit back, and why are you indoctrinating the mind of a kid that is the path? You're a teacher who actually is struggling financially, and you're talking about how that is the key for success in life. Our culture is like sheep. There's so many people that are just plugged into the matrix, and they're like non-player characters. And unless there's more people waking up talking about the realities of the systems, multiple, from the banking system to the American fiat system to the debt system to the way that we're been totally completely manipulated by this thing called a credit score. designed by the banks for the purpose of the banks that keep people in perpetual debt. I mean, it's just nuts. It is going to just get infinitely worse and bad for the people in the middle, and that gap's going to continue to grow. And then obviously the lower class is going to stay reliant upon the government, and then more people are going to be, and we're going to, before you know it, we'll be a socialistic society because there is not a incentive to work. But the point in all of this, and where my mind's going right now, is like we've gone through. Ethan's 21, Cole's 17, Elle is 15. Cole's going to be a senior. Right now, to this day, literally every person new that I meet, unless they're an entrepreneur, it's funny. Literally, no entrepreneur asks this question to me. They say, well, what's your son up to? Everybody else would be like, where does he go to college? Or where did he go to college? Talk about Cole's senior year, the first thing a parent will say to me is, oh, where is he going to college? And I'm going to take a quote from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk said, that's not the right question. The question should be, why are they going to go to college? Not where. And these schools just have one track to go to college, and we have a system where we're taking the right minds of young men and women. They're still kids, but we'll call them men and women because they're adults. And we're sending them off to, for the vast majority, woke indoctrination camps for their biblical worldview of life to be stripped down, removed, challenged, mocked. Talk about Christ on many campuses. You know, you're a unique person if you walk through college and you keep your faith. The stats don't lie. But on top of it, we're riddling them with debt for student loans. We're riddling them with unsecured consumer debt, which is literally criminal usury. And we're setting them out into the wild with no market skill sets, no value. They've just been learners. Taught by people who've done nothing but academia. Vast majority, I'm sure there's some unique ones, but the vast majority of our college professors have literally created nothing in their life other than just academia and pontificating. You have college professors who taught by professors that have started out since the 60s, where this whole indoctrination in the school system became this liberal ideology. So you're sending them out, the kids that God's put into your life to steward and to raise how you want them raised, with your values, your morals, and a biblical worldview if you're a believer. And then you send them out where it gets like it's architected to dismantle that, to make it completely like this complete demonic approach. I just got a text from a friend, I won't say his name, praying for him. He's walking through something that many parents experience. Raised his girls in a Christian home, biblical worldview, conservative values. One's still in the home. The other one, first year of college, comes back and he says she's unrecognizable. She's wokest you could possibly imagine. She's now thinking she's a lesbian. They're affirming this. Like it's I'm going to affirm their gender identity and ideology. You're sending the precious children that God has given you into a cesspool of demonic influence, and then they come out with no value, and we wonder why we have a group of this younger generations who are attracted to the Democratic Socialists of America, literally a communist platform. So when people ask me about Ethan, I'm like, no, he didn't go to college. He's 21 years old. He's working in sales. He's learning consumer finance. He's learning human psychology. He's learning how to have interpersonal or personal relationships. He's doing financial evaluations for thousands of people across the country, most of them people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, many years his senior. He's getting a financial education. He sees firsthand the actual carnage that's happening financially for people across the country. And he's building values and skills that will transcend anything he does. Cole, talk about Cole, the first thing they ask is, well, where's he going to college? And my response is, don't know if he's going to college. This last year of school, he's going to be working through some things and figuring out where his skill sets are and where he may want to be. And the reality is, what 17 or 18-year-old kid knows what they want to do? Like, very rare. Why throw them out to go and get a degree and get a bunch of debt for just no value? That 6 years of school, whatever you're in, Think about how much you can learn as an autodidactic, how much you can learn in marketplace skill set, how much you can learn as far as entrepreneurial skill sets by looking around, identifying problems, seeing if you can solve the solution, working with the business, learning different skill sets, going to another business, doing internships, doing apprenticeships, going to trade school, whatever it might be. But like sheep, the masses walk down the same plank, jumping into shark-infested waters day in and day out. And it's interesting, I get stirred up with this because I'm with the whole Fauci stuff coming out right now, which we all knew. There was no deception with Kelly and I. It was as plain as day, an orchestrated propaganda and attack and deception. It just reminds me how the vast majority of people walk through life literally as non-player characters with no critical common sense thinking, no ability to have and analyze. They just listen to the experts, The experts, still, I will never listen to an expert. You have professors teaching business that have never opened a business. Literally, think about that. A professor teaching business who's never ran a business, created a job, had to foot the bill, had to go into debt, had to overcome problems. Anyways, so my point was with this message was, it's wild how indoctrinated as a culture we are. There's a swell happening. Thank goodness to social media. Thank goodness to someone like Elon Musk who bought Twitter and opened the public forum. Real information is there. Not the mockingbird news media that just repeats the same thing over and over to indoctrinate your mind. We have great podcasting. You can learn anything at any time in any endeavor. You can become an autodidactic in so many different areas of life, and you can come into companies and work your way up and bring value and create opportunity. So if you're a parent and you're in that phase, you're like, man, my kid's graduating high school, and the school's, of course, pointing them to go to school because the school exists to go to school. Think about what actually is the path. And maybe it is school, but doesn't mean you have to do it right away. There's something about a gap year or two that I think is so powerful for a young adult to sit back, maybe go and serve somewhere in ministry, go plug in and do some apprenticeship, go work in some job fields and say, man, is this a field I don't want to be in even? Get the entry-level position in that field. Don't want to do that. Okay, if I did that, if I spend the next 4 years of my life and whatever hundreds of thousands of dollars, what is the ROI on that time, which you can never get back? And what is the ROI on the economic investment and the capital that takes to go and get that said education? And then as a parent, ask yourself, is my child strong enough and right enough and spiritually solid enough to go into an environment that is truly demonic? Or should they be going to a good Christian college that has a good biblical worldview, that teaches from a Judeo-Christian principle perspective and a classical education mindset and focuses on skill sets? The liberal arts degree is the worst thing that's ever hit society. Anyways, that story just inspired me, and it's like I see it everywhere, and I feel so bad for this lady. She's stuck. There's nothing, unless these grandkids of hers step it up and decide to get after it in life. Unfortunately, she's going to finish her life in debt. Struggling, stressed, have health decline. And that's normal. It's a normal, and a lot of us live in a bubble. I live in a bubble in Naples. Totally a bubble. But a lot of people don't, and they look around and they see it. My encouragement today for anybody who just decided to listen to this long video is opportunity is everywhere. And if you unplug yourself from the ideologies of the matrix in the traditional programming, and you can educate your kids to do the same, they're going to walk through life and they will see an opportunity everywhere, and they'll be able to make a difference. Yes, work can be a passion, but if that passion doesn't create economic return, why are you doing it? We live in a society that if you don't make any money, you're not supporting your family. So I'm going to go to church, worship, and praise God for America.